Hello and welcome to PSGL. My name is Pinky Boy. Welcome to round 7 of the Constructors Challenge here for GT7. We are here at the Nurburgring. We're on the GPD circuit. We're on board with Hasnain right now. We've just gone through Yokohama S and we're coming through the Mercedes arena just now. This is the sprint version of the circuit. So we will miss out the hairpin at the bottom and the Michael Schumacher S. And after this turn, we will have a hairpin where normally you would turn left. You're taking a right-handed hairpin. That takes you to the exit of the Schumacher S's. Through this left into Warsteiner Curve. That will take us up to Advanbogen. And then the NGK chicane. Yes, as you can see, shorter version of the circuit. So quicker lap times here tonight. Quicker lap times expected. And we will be starting quali in about 20 minutes. On track just now we have Solid Ninja Snake, H Racing Green, Javi F, Hasnain, Jut and Go, Ragnar Kagari and Ori Ambassador. With us being near the end of the league, it's probably a good time to have a look at the standings that for the race, with championship implications in mind. So in leading the championship just now, we have Ori Ambassador with 80 points, with Pipox behind them on 26. H Racing Green has 53 points, and Somi has 50. Make this bigger for himself. In 5th we have Fred on 39, CRG Jamie on 24, Pep Talks on 22, Javi on 19, Hasney on 16, Brian Nikagari on 10. That's your top 10 in the championship just now. In the championship fight at the moment, who can still win the championship with a further 34 points maximum up for grabs over the next 2 rounds. Pipox, H Racing Green and Somi are still all in the running to take over from Ori Ambassador. However, with the points gap and Pipox not racing tonight, it does seem like a tall order, but not impossible at all. There was nothing in the way of stewards' inquiries after the last race, so all the positions from the last round have stayed as they are. And we will be doing 5 minutes of 5 minutes quali, I believe it is. Yes, 5 minutes quali, and then a 38 lap race. Hard and mediums are required for 10 laps. You do not need to use them for 10 laps in one stint. You could do 10 one-lap stints on them, and that would indeed count. It would not be a great strategy, but it would indeed fulfill the requirements. Softs are also available, but they are not required. This is a GT4 round. Last week we were in the GT3s. This is the Constructor Challenge. Every season has equal amounts of GT4 and GT3 races. The next round will be GT3s at Catalunya. And for the finale, Catalunya without the chicane. Because let's be honest, not many of us particularly like the chicane. It's a bit slow and cumbersome. The drivers prefer the flow of going round the right hander onto the start-finish straight. So let's see who's out on track just now. We've got Javi and H Racing Green. H Racing Green currently fastest of all the people currently on track, but the fastest lap in this short practice session is Solid Ninja Snake with a 1:31.1. However, that is on the soft tyres. Everyone else will probably be getting a wee sighter in on the mediums and hards, as they will be your main race tyres. We also see Jutton go out there in the Ferrari. So yes, expect to see close battle between Ori Ambassador and H Racing Green. H Racing Green hoping that he can manage to claw enough points to keep himself in this championship fight. As will CRG Jamie, but we do have some drivers who will not be here tonight. I believe it is Pettipox and Pipox. Or Pepitox and Pipox. And let's see who else we have. Soulmate will also not be here this week, so it will be down between Ori Ambassador and H Racing Green. We also have FRT Gino and Lee the Reaper also going to be here tonight. As we ride on board with H Racing Green in the Invicta McLaren. As he makes his way down to Yokohama S, braking, getting down the gears, turning it in, trying to carry as much speed through that fairly slow corner as he can, trying to minimise the understeer through Mercedes arena. It's an easy place to scrub off speed if you run too wide. Track limits here are basically, as long as you're not on the grass, you're pretty much good on the exit of Mercedes arena there. Carrying the speed through the left-hander there and into the right of Warsteiner curve. This corner is absolutely flat out. Take a wee bit of the curb and then make your way back over to the right-hand side of the track for the left-right chicane. Just be careful with the curbs, otherwise you can lose the back end a little bit. And that will definitely affect your lap time. Brandon Kagari in the ESA Peugeot. As he is the fastest man currently on track. but still yet to beat Solid Ninja Snake's 131.1. But these times should give us an idea of how we're going to stack up for qualifying. Well, anyone that does runs on the softs, it'll give us an idea for qualifying. Jut and Go with a wee pumpkin on his car, with this being Halloween after all. He's got the Halloween livery on the go, as he picks up a 1.5 second penalty through the chicane. And I believe that's served along the back straight. As we see Ori Ambassador on all over the curbs at Mercedes Arena. We are about 10 minutes out from quali. We will see a room change, well I say a room change, a room reset for quali settings in a couple of minutes, as Lee has joined the lobby. And CRG Jamie. Again, with the lack of Somi and Pipox, it's very much Ori's championship to lose. One hand on the trophy as it is right now. Only CRG Jamie and H Racing Green can stop him at this point. The performance that you've seen in the Group 3 cars last week is not indicative of how the grid will shape up this week, as the Group 4s are a different beast. With less aero, less power, less weight. Also, some of the cars will be four-wheel drive, like the Subaru, and Ragnar Kagari's Peugeot is front-wheel drive, so different tyre wear strategies compared to the GT3 cars. Currently a tailwind into the main straight, which equates into a headwind on the back straight. Which will make the braking into turn 1 a wee bit earlier than it usually is, but shorten the braking distance into the chicane. Let's see who else. We've got these people there in the Mercedes. Solid's practice time of a 1:31.1 still stands. as Hasnain is taken back to the circuit in the Asahi Kasai Aston Martin. We've also got Javi out in the McLaren. Who else have we not covered? Solid Ninja Snake also in the Aston Martin, teammates with Hasnain. I believe the only actual team outside of the OP drivers in this league, well, in this tier at least. Again, no Wedgiebo this week. No, Wedgiebo is in tier 2. So the grid tonight will be formed of, as it stands, Hasnain, H Racing Green, Lee the Reaper, Jut and Go, OP Fred, Ore Ambassador, GTS Javi, CRG Jamie, Ragnar Kagari, and FRT Gino. As we see H Racing Green taking a slipstream off Lee, coming up that back straight and peeling into the pits for a practice pit stop. As Lee sets a personal best of a 1:35.7, presumably on the hard tyres. As we see, Hasnain has done 16 laps in this practice session so far. We are a couple of minutes out from qualifying. It's where the fun really begins. Five-minute quality should give everyone time enough for an out lap and 2 flying laps. Short track, so one of the shorter tracks we've ran this season. We always make the shorter tracks in the GT4s and the slightly longer tracks in GT3s. As we see Hasnain and Solid, the two Asahi Kasai cars. Easy way to tell them apart. Solid is red with the Metal Gear Solid sticker on the back, whereas Hasnain has the blue and the Radio Shack sticker on the back. As we're on with the championship leader coming through the NGK chicane. Getting a wee bit squirrely on the rear end as they come out there, taking just a little bit too much curb. And down along the back straights, setting up 1:32.4. Still a wee bit off the time of Solid Ninja Snake there. 1.3 seconds slower. Whereas H Racing Green is a 1.1 seconds off of Solid's best time. And we also have Javi, who's 7/10 away. Again, doesn't give us much for quality considering the tyre delta, if they are running the mediums or the hards compared to the softs that Solid put that time in on. But H Racing Green closing that gap to half a second. Absolutely expect the 2-stop to be the strat here for this race. The front wheel drives might need to go for the 3, as the front wheel drive cars do eat their front tyres quite a bit more, which does affect turning. As we see cars out on track, we are waiting for the call for qualifying, which is usually at 10:02. But it appears we might be still waiting for a couple of drivers to appear. We'll have Gino on in a couple of minutes. And that seems to be who we are waiting on. Let's see if anyone else is in the lobby. I believe we're still waiting on OP Fred as well. Yeah, OP Fred and Gino are the two we're still waiting on. No, I don't want to go on track. As we are on with Javi. Yeah, it's just a fantastic view in the cockpit. We are doing a track reset just now, which means we will be going to quali in a short moment. There we go. We are in for quali. As we're just waiting for everyone to make their way out on track. So now everyone will get a couple of laps, do some quality practice while they wait on Gino. So at this point, everyone will be out on soft tyres. There's Hasname parking it up at the hairpin. Jamie taking a hairpin nicely on the outlap. So we will definitely be ready to go in a couple of minutes. See, Django coming down. Will he also park up with Hasnane? No. Lee has rejoined the room. As we see Solid coming up to the NGK chicane, about to start a flying practice lap. Hasnane still parked down at the hairpin, which is something you will see before quali actually starts, is everyone making sure they're out and past sector 1. As we see Solid braking coming down into Yokohama S. And coming through the Mercedes-Benz arena. Coming down the short straight into the hairpin. It takes us to the exit of the Michael Schumacher S's. And left-hander doing his best to keep it in the power band. As we then come through Warsteiner curve and up to Advan. Coming down the gears for the NGK chicane, taking a lot of curb, which has pushed them out wide, through the hairpin, and down to cross the line. 3/10 of a second slower than CRG Jamie. 10th faster though, nearly 2/10 faster than Javi. We have Django not far behind. H Racing Green Ore, Lee, Hasnane, and Ragnar Gary. All in various outlaps and push laps. Again, normally we would be started by now. We would be just setting the grid, but we are waiting on Gino to appear. As Ori Ambassador sets up purple sector. Let's see how he goes here. Breaking down for the chicane. Taking quite a lot of curb, but not drifting too far out. Using as much of that curb as he can to carry more speed through the hairpin. And that's a 1:29.9 from Ori Ambassador. Definitely showing everyone he's in for business. Wants to wrap up this championship tonight. And I believe if Ori wins tonight, all he needs to do is not be outscored by more than 4 points in the next round by Pepitox to secure the championship. So that's Gino on. They are getting a couple of laps. Another one of the OP drivers in the Lexus. Yep, we have a collection of cars all parked down there. Solid has decided he wants to do some donuts in the grass. So I have Lee there coming through the hairpin, making his way up into the back section. Javi has also decided he wants to get a wee bit more running in. CH Racing Green Solid, and just Nick Ragnar Kagari, CRG Jamie and Jutton Go all parked up there, just waiting for the event to start. As we should be a moment or two out, we're just again letting Gino get a couple of sighting laps, and then we'll be underway for quali. 5 minutes, 1 out lap, 2 flying laps. No OP Fred this week either. I look forward to seeing them at the finale. I suppose it's only right to Wish them all luck. Hasn't with the good luck, I'm sorry. And that's us started quali, 5 minutes on the clock to get the best lap you can in. Championship rivals, H Racing Green and Ori Ambassador, out one after the other. HRG ahead of Ori, giving him a tow. Which is probably not what HRG wants, being quite a wee bit further back in the championship. Would very much like to switch those positions around if he can. So some people will back off, try and get a gap. We'll probably try and do it before, well, between the chicane and the hairpin if possible. HRG making the pass on Javi, as is Ori. You want to be very careful with that chicane on your outlap. Last thing you need to do is get a penalty for cutting that corner and absolutely ruin your push laps. As we see HRG coming down the start-finish straight, Ori Ambassador in tow coming down to the braking point at Yokohama S. Makes it through nicely, two McLarens. As it looks like Ori has gone a little bit deep there. That will have cost them a wee bit of time. Very wide through the exit of the Mercedes-Benz arena there as we come into the hairpin. And Javi has a 2.5 second penalty which will be served on Advan, on the run to Advan. Those yellow markers you see there, that is the penalty zone. Drivers will be forced to decelerate until they have served the penalty. As H Racing Green comes to NGK chicane. And we're coming through the hairpin now to cross the line. Let's see what times we get. 2:29.96 and a 2:29.95 from Ori. 1:36 from Jamie. Gino 1:29.5. Javi 1:40.9. 1:32.7 from Lee, 1:30.9 from Solid, 1:31.5 from Jut and Go. Hasnane next across the line, 1:30.3. As it stands, OP Gino is your pole sitter with Ori Ambassador and H Racing Green behind. However, still time for one more lap. And Ragnar Kagari is yet to cross the line on his first lap. So let's see what Ragnar Kagari can do. 1:30.14 puts him up into 7th place, as we can see that H Racing Green and Ori Ambassador are making their way to the chicane just now. seemingly making it through quite cleanly there. Ori Ambassador taking full advantage of the slipstream. Ori Ambassador does go quicker, 129.5. Not quick enough to put him on pole though. Jamie 130.2. OP Bonnie continues to open that gap up with a 129.2. Javi without a penalty 130.7. Lee the Reaper has set a 132.6. Final lap for everyone. Some will not get a second lap. Hasnain set a 130.2, and that is his final lap of quali. Everyone before Hasnain will get the chance to set a second lap, or a third lap, I believe. I think only one person didn't make it, as we're on with Javi. Coming through there nicely. As Ryan Kagari does not set a better time, which leaves him down in 8th. We've got some folk coming up to the start-finish line now. Let's see if anyone sets spare time. Ori Ambassador 129.6. Not good enough for pole. Javi set a new best time, puts himself up into 4th, well 130.2 solid, but a 130.3 puts himself up into 7th. So there is your starting grid. OP Gino alongside Ori Ambassador on the front row. Next to them, behind them, H Racing Green and Javi. Then on the third row, we have Hasnain and Jamie. On the fourth row, it is Solid Ninja Snake and Ragnar Kagari. And on the back row, it is Jutango and Lee the Reaper. While we are having this short break, I'd like to take this time to let everyone know that we have our next championship in the works. After the Constructors Challenge 2, we are doing the Porsche Fest, where we will be racing GT3 RSRs. That is going to be a 4-week cup, I believe. It is going to be... yes, 4 rounds over 4 weeks. And that will run from the 28th of November. So do make sure to tune in for that. And we are 6 seconds away from the start of the race. Best of luck to all the drivers as we go for 38 laps. And that's us. We're off for 38 laps around Nurburgring GPD. OP Gino is already covering off Ori Ambassador, but Jamie looking to make a move round the outside. Ori looking for space. Jamie up into second, but falling back down to third, has ran a bit wide. I didn't mean to go that way. As we see H Racing Green in 4th. And let's get the timing table up on. Here we go. As we see Ori Ambassador making a move on Jamie into the hairpin. Got the inside line. Lovely close racing between the two of them there. As we see Javi and H Racing Green there in 4th and 5th, just behind. Looking to take advantage of these guys slowing each other down by battling. This is giving Gino a chance to make a gap. And H Racing Green has indeed got ahead of CRG Jamie. As we see them all coming into the NGK chicane. Everyone single file. Looking to get through here safely, make a move on the straight in the slipstream. Again, still a tailwind along this back straight, or pit straight. And a headwind into the back straight. As we see H Racing Green almost pushing Ori Ambassador through the Yokohama S. Let's have a look further down the grid. We see CRG Jamie and Javi there. Hasnain with a solid Ninja Snake behind, and then followed by Jut and Go, Lee the Reaper, and Ragnar Kagari. Ragnar Kagari possibly struggling with the front wheel drive. Front wheel drive cars known for their chronic understeer. Definitely so in GT. As we see H Racing Green there in the slipstream of Ori Ambassador along this straight. That is going to mean that he is less affected by the headwind, as Ori is punching a hole in the air, although not as big one as he would like. Gino making a big gap there to Ori Ambassador. Everyone else a fairly tight grip going. Not too much distance between everyone. Ragnar Kagari falling back just a little bit though. As we see everyone coming through the Mercedes arena. H Racing Green possibly thinking about sizing a move up into the hairpin if he can close the gap a bit on the rundown here. And he cannot. Fastest lap held by OP Gino, 1:31.9. As we come through Warsteiner curve. Hasnain getting past Javi there. Javi though very close in the slipstream. Might look to make a move into the chicane. Let's see if he dives out and makes a move. Does not, thinks better of it. Stays close behind though. As we now see Hasnain falling a wee bit behind Jamie, with Javi right behind him, and Hasnain's teammate Solid Ninja Snake keeping Javi honest, making Javi have to drive in his mirrors instead of just thinking about attacking. Has to also think about defense, but sometimes the best way to defend is to make a move on the person in front. As Solid goes deep there and opens the door for Jut and Go. But Jut and Go can't make anything of it. The door was open but not wide enough, it would seem. As we see, fairly decent gap between everyone there. OPGino now has a 4.5 second lead. But you got to ask yourself, is he burning too much fuel? Is he running his tyres out too quick? Is this going to affect him in the way of strategy? Remember, you must run 10 laps in total of this race on the hards and on the mediums. They do not have to be 10 lap stints, but you do have to cover 10 laps on both sets of on both compounds, whether that is a one 10 lap stint or 10 1 lap stints. As H Racing Green looks for the move on Ori. On board with H Racing Green as he tries to close the gap and make the move. You can see CRG Jamie in the mirrors there as he follows through the hairpin, tries to get a better exit. Looking to stay close enough to tuck into the slipstream on the exit of Warsteiner Curve, on the run all the way up through Advan, which is flat out in these cars, all the way up to the NGK chicane. But it does not appear that H Racing Green is making enough of enough gains on Ori there. As we can see the battle on board from CRG Jamie's point of view. And further back down the field we have Hasnain in 5th, Javi F in 6th, Solid in 7th. We've got Juttengo in 8th. Lee the Reaper in 9th, and it does seem that Ragnar Kagari has started closing the gap that was a couple of seconds to Lee, back down to just under a second. But losing a lot of that time again in the turns. As the main battle we're looking at right now is H Racing Green and Ori Ambassador. H Racing Green gaining on the straights. Oh, and Ori's off. He's off. He's lost the position there. But this has also opened the door for Jamie. This is exactly what HRG wants to see. Wants to see Jamie make the move here, get past Ori. Put a gap between the two of them. If Jamie can make the move, that would absolutely keep HRG in this championship fight. As we see Jamie pretty much pushing Ori through the Mercedes arena. We've got Jamie tucking into the slipstream, looking for a move at the hairpin. Cutting back. He's got the inside line. He has gotten ahead, but Ori has the inside line here. And Jamie makes the move stick into Warsteiner Curve. But can he stay ahead on the run to Advan and into the chicane? Ori tucks back in under that rear wing. move to the outside of the chicane. And this battling is just exactly what HRG needs. Oh, as Jamie clatters the curb there, but was within track limits and does keep the place. Now let's see if Jamie can close the gap to H Racing Green, who now has a 3-second advantage over CRG Jamie, which gives him about a 4-second advantage to Ori Ambassador. And all this battling has given Gino an 8.7-second lead. He has run away with this at the moment. We are on lap 8 of 38. Further down the field, Ryan Kagari has made his way up to 8th past Juttengo and Lee the Reaper, but Juttengo is indeed right on his tail. As we see two different lines there. Coming into the hairpin. Juttengo seems to get the better run out of the hairpin, but not enough to make a move up into the left-hander there. Let's see if Juttengo can make it on the run up to the NGK chicane. But it would seem like the Peugeot has the legs to keep the Ferrari at bay. As we come through the chicane, Juttengo still closing in on Ragnar Kagari. CRG Jamie and Ori Ambassador still fighting over third, still very close. We'll check back on them in a second. Let's see, Juttengo pulls out for a move, but too far back. Can't quite send it from there. Let's have a look. Ori is right up behind CRG Jamie. Will he try to make a move into the hairpin like Jamie did on him? No, too far back. But looking to get the better run out of Warsteiner curve in the slipstream. Can possibly make the move stick. Right on board, see if he goes for the move. You see him closing. Not enough though. But he does push Jamie through the chicane. Wee bit of a love tap there. As we come through the hairpin. Again, still in the slipstream. And this battling is exactly what H Racing Green needs. As this is just slowing down Ori Ambassador. The gap's still round about 4 seconds. As we are going to lap 10 of 38, CRG Jamie still ahead into the hairpin. Ori Ambassador much closer, pushing Jamie through the hairpin. Might look to make a move along the run through Advan and into the NGK chicane. Again, Ori Ambassador right in the slipstream there. H Racing Green still pulling out that advantage. Jamie and Ori might go side by side here. Just not quite enough for Ori to make it. But he's definitely trying. Oh, but Ori pits. Ori's pitting. from the hard tyres. And all that battling between Ori and Jamie has also given Hasnain and Javi a chance to catch back up. So let's see where Ori filters out. Ori's going to filter out in last. But if he can get the undercut here, that will be great for him. That would be exactly what he needs. As we're now on with Juttengo and Ragnar Kagari. These two battling hard. 6 seconds ahead to Solid Ninja Snake. Surprised they're not thinking about doing a little bit of working together to try and close the gap to Solid. Due to the fact we only have 10 people in this, 10 drivers in this race, everyone will be getting points. CRG Jamie comes in, also off of the hard tyres. So let's see if the undercut from Ori was indeed enough. Let's see CRG coming out of the box, making his way down the pit lane. He has been passed by Ori. He's on the medium tyre. But he's not all that far behind Ori. He's 3.2 seconds behind. That is not a insurmountable gap. See, Ori has increased that gap to 12 seconds. H Racing Green 7.2. Back to Hasnain. Hasnain and Javi. Hasnain currently running P3. Javi P4. We've got Solid Ninja Snake 4 seconds behind, with a 6 second gap back to Juttengo, and Ragnar Kagari has fallen back by about 2 seconds, which has probably given Lee a bit of hope. That he can catch up and make a move, but Ragnar Kagari is in the pits. Again, hard tyres. Everyone seems to be getting the hard tyres out of the way early here. As we see Jamie and Ori bearing down on Lee. So the question is, what will Juttengo will do on this lap? Will he box, or will he stick to a strategy that he's already conceived and stay out? So we see Obigino still holding that 1:31.1 for the fastest lap since lap 4, as he makes his way into the NGK chicane. Completed 13 laps. Will he box now? He will stay out. If he's feeling confident on the tyres and fuel, then it's probably the best way to do it. Still holding about a 12 second gap back to H Racing Green. As they are 8.5 seconds ahead of Hasnain, who is battling with Javi. Javi 1 second behind in the slipstream, trying to close that gap. We see Ori is up to 8th. and has CRG Jamie right behind him as they're coming along that straight. So let's go and check in on that one. Oh, Ori is right up behind Lee. Ori looking to make the move on Lee. Goes to the inside. Gets it slowed down nicely, but now has the outside line here. Takes the wide line. Gets the move done. And Lee is really closing the gap back up. Lee is dropping back. That's a tenth in a couple of those few turns. Tyre wear might be just starting to kick in for Lee now. As we see Jamie. Jamie is about 3.3 seconds behind Ori. And Ori has the buffer of Lee in the way between them as well. Just looking to see who pits next. As we see Ori trying to close up on Jut and Go. As we make our way into Yokohama S. And through the Mercedes-Benz Arena, Ori quite wide there. Definitely quicker to be that far out. Taking all the space he can use. As we see CRG making a move on Lee the Reaper into the hairpin. Doesn't look like Lee fought that too hard, to be fair. Probably decided it wasn't his race. After all, Ori and Jamie and Ragnar Kagari are all out of sync here, having been the only ones so far to have pitted. You see Ori is now ahead of Jut and Go. And quickly stretching that gap. Now looking at Solid Ninja Snake, 7.7 seconds ahead. But most importantly, 21 seconds. I think H Racing Green's outside of the pit window as well, as Gino is holding that 12-second advantage over H Racing Green, but H Racing Green has indeed increased his advantage over Hasnain to 11 seconds. Which means if Gino were to pit now, he would probably come out ahead of Hasnain, and he has pitted now on the mediums. Only one so far that we've seen on the alternate strategy. As we see him coming into the pits. Let's see where he comes out. Will he indeed come out ahead of Hasnain? No, Hasnain and Javi make it past. That's Solid and Ori. Oh no, Ori doesn't. But might into the corner here. Oh, very close there. Very wheel to wheel. So the undercut has worked out for Ori there. But with it being about a 21-second pit stop, oh, I thought it was a 21-second pit stop, H Racing Green does have a pit stop over Ori at the moment. Because the math suggests it is either a 21 to 23 seconds. As Ori Ambassador across the line, you can see Solid Ninja Snake just a couple of seconds down the road. But since getting past Gino, he has started building a gap. Gino led nearly half this race from pole, but in the second stint is starting to fall back a little bit. So this could indeed be a one-stop on the medium to hards. Just trying to see if we can find any battles going on up and down the field. But everyone's got themselves into a bit of a gap, finding their rhythm. See Ragnar Kagari coming through the hairpin. Has already pitted. H Racing Green coming down the back straight, has yet to pit. Holding an 11.4 second gap to Hasnain. Ori Ambassador just sets the fastest lap, a 1:31.1. You see Hasnain there going through the Mercedes-Benz Arena, Javi in tow. Gap is 1.1 seconds. Javi holding the slipstream, staying in the slipstream, trying to close that gap as much as possible on the straights. Might look for a move into one of the corners, probably the chicane, as we come through Warsteiner curve. Gap closing slightly. Is going to be less than a second now. As you get closer to the car in front, the slipstream does indeed get more powerful, because more of your car is in that thin air, that hole that's been punched by the car in front. As Javi pits now. Javi looking for the undercut, coming off of the hard tyres. Can he make the softs, the mediums go 18 laps? For the one stop, or will he need to stop again for maybe a set of softs near the end? H Racing Green gap 12.6 to Hasnain. Ori Ambassador 5 seconds behind Hasnain. Has Solid Ninja Snake 2 seconds behind him. OP Gino behind. Again, another 2.4 seconds the gap. With Jamie 1.5 seconds behind, who has a gap of 7.5 to Jut and Go. Jut and Go holding a 3.5 second lead over Lee the Reaper, who is 13 seconds ahead of Ragnar Kagari. with a 7.1 second gap to Javi. Let's watch CRG Jamie try and close this gap down to Gino, as H Racing Green has decided it is time to get rid of those hard tyres, strap on a set of mediums. And then I believe that makes the only people left to pit Juttengo, Lee, and the two Asahi Kasai cars, as Ori is back in for another pit stop. And Lee the Reaper has come in for his first stop now. Let's see where this puts H Racing Green. H Racing Green will come out of the pits in what appears to be 6th place, still ahead of Ori Ambassador most importantly. There's Ragnar Kagari coming down the pit straight, will be ahead of Ori, as will Javi. So with only the two Aston Martins to pit, it does appear that Gino will be in the lead again. As Gino makes the move through Advan on Solid Ninja Snake. And CRG Jamie will be hoping to follow him. CRG Jamie right behind, coming into the NGK chicane. And Solid does indeed pit, as has Hasnain. That leaves, I believe, the only person yet to pit, Juttengo. Who I believe will likely come in this lap. And he does. As everyone done the hard tyres. So they will be strapping on a set of mediums and going to the end. As we see, Gino has a 1.3 second gap to CRG Jamie. Everyone taking the wide line through there. Hasnain out on the medium tyres. Solid has also switched on to the mediums. And without a doubt, as well Juttengo. They will want to do 10 laps on these tyres, as is regulation. OP Gino now has a 20.2 second gap to H Racing Green. CRG Jamie in the middle of them there, and is closing on OP Gino. We've got Hasnain, Javi and Ori all fairly close together. All looking to catch up on Ragnar Kagari as CRG pits. Jamie has come in for another pit stop. Well, that could even be his first. And I've just missed it, but I'm pretty sure he pitted. And Ragnar Kagari up in P4 in the Peugeot. As we're watching on with Javi, in case Ori makes a move behind or he makes a move on Hasnain ahead. But Javi in the slipstream. Ori in the slipstream of Javi. Right behind as we come down to the braking point for turn 1, the Yokohama S, and there's Jamie out in the middle of the apex, which is definitely going to have an effect here on all of them. Jamie just getting straight into this fight with Hasnain and Ori and Javi. As as they all come through the exit of Mercedes-Benz Arena. Ori going out all the way to the right, making a move on Hasnain into the hairpin. Hasnain thinking about the cutback, but Ori with a nice block pass. Set fastest lap on that lap there, 1:30.997. As everyone is in the slipstream, the further back in this train you are, the more powerful the slipstream, as you're getting slipstream off of multiple cars. As it looks like Javi is going for a move on Hasnain, but thinks better of it, slips back into the slipstream. Ragnar Kagari in third place right now, but has fallen behind CRG Jamie and pulls off the racing line and lets past Ori Ambassador and Hasnain and Javi. Ragnar Kagari seemingly deciding that this is not his fight, as Javi is looking for the move on Hasnain, pushing Hasnain through the Mercedes-Benz arena. Has gone out a wee bit wider than Hasnain there, may have been thinking about the cutback. As Jamie is making a little bit of a gap to Ori, 1.3 seconds as opposed to the 0.5 seconds behind Ori to Hasnain. What's the gap to H Racing Green? The gap is 11 seconds to H Racing Green. So CRG Jamie will be hoping that Hasnain and Ori will battle away so he can close that gap to HRG and not have to think about Ori behind. But Hasnain also having to think about behind him, as Javi is right there. As we come into Yokohama S, and CRG Jamie just holding that gap right now, 1.6 seconds. As we exit the Mercedes-Benz arena, come down to the hairpin. Ori Ambassador, purple sector 1. CRG Jamie with the fastest lap, 1:30.925. But Ori setting another purple sector and is slowly closing that gap to CRG Jamie from 1.6 now to 1.4. Coming through the chicane. Will this be another purple lap as we come through the hairpin? And down to the finish line, start finish line, 1:30.666. Ori now has the fastest lap as Ragnar Kagari is back in the pits. With 12 laps to go, you've got to imagine he's strapping on another set of mediums. I don't think the softs will go that long. But in setting the fastest lap, Ori has made a 1.7 second gap to Hasnain and dropped it, but hasn't really made much headway into the gap of CRG Jamie. But on the exit of Mercedes-Benz curve, he's definitely changed that as he sets another purple sector 1 and brings that gap down to about 1.1 seconds. As CRG is all is still holding about an 11-second gap to, well, behind H Racing Green. As we come through the NGK chicane. And that gap of 1.1 seconds is kind of staying there right now. Let's see if Ori sets another fastest lap in the slipstream though. He does not. But that gap is slowly coming down to round about a second. As we come back through the Mercedes-Benz arena, let's see the battle further behind. Hasnain is there, Javi is about 2 seconds behind. Solid is in no man's land right now. 9 seconds behind Javi, 13 ahead of Jut and Go. Closest battle right now is Hasnain and Javi, or Jamie and Ori. OP Gino has a 14-second gap to HRG, who has a 10-second gap back to Jamie, much like we were near the end of the first stint. The gap's a little bit bigger, but not by a whole load. But gaps that definitely aren't bigger is the gap between CRG and Ori. Let's see what Ori can do here. Right on board. As we come through the hairpin. And the slipstream goes 3 thousandths of a second faster. 1:30.663 as we make the move to the inside. A wee bit of a wheel banging there. So we can see Jamie is still on the inside. As we come into the hairpin. As we see if Jamie can come back. As we make this run all the way up to Advan. Gap is about half a second. As we brake for the NGK chicane. Turn in. And let's have a look back. Hasnain now growing that gap to 2.7 seconds with to Javi behind. As we now watch Jamie in the slipstream of Ori on the run down to Yokohama S, but too far back to make a move. As we come through the Mercedes-Benz arena. That gap just growing ever so slightly. But not too far away. CRG tries to make sure he's in the slipstream on the run up to the chicane, but that gap now growing to 1.3. Ori looking to close the 10-second gap to H Racing Green ahead. And H Racing Green is still about 12 seconds behind Gino. this will be tyre preservation, fuel saving to the end here now. As we are on lap 30 of 38. Ori Ambassador 10 seconds away from H Racing Green. I think the only two people in this race at the moment who can take the title from Ori are CRG Jamie and H Racing Green, but both need to finish ahead of Ori for that to still be possible into the next round for the finale at Spain. And Ori is intent on catching HRG with 8 laps to go. He'd set a purple sector 1, a red sector 2, and is growing the gap behind to CRG Jamie, who was about a second and a half and is now 3.4 seconds behind. What you've got to ask yourself, is Ori pushing it too hard? CRG Jamie is in the pits now. Was on the soft tyres. The soft tyres weren't going to go very long. So we see Gino coming through the hairpin, making our way up through this left-hander and through Warsteiner curve and onto the long back straight. Wind is now no longer 4.2 meters per second, it is now 3.8, so less of a headwind. And on the start-finish straight, it's less of a tailwind and more of a crosswind now. As we see Gino, the gap closing to Gino from H Racing Green, who has closed down 2 seconds over the last lap or so. And Ori is closing down the gap between himself and H Racing Green with about 6 laps to go. In fourth we have Hasnain, followed by Javi, then Solid Ninja Snake. CRG Jamie out of the pits is in 7th. We've got Jutton Go in 8th, followed by Lee the Reaper. And at the back is Ragnar Kagari. Yes, Gino not actually too far behind Ragnar Kagari right now. About the length of the back straight. Ori closing down the gap to H Racing Green. Still holds the fastest lap, 1:30.663. Is pushing hard to try and close that gap. And is simultaneously opening a further gap to Hasnain. I can see a battle brewing down here maybe. Jutton Go and Jamie. Looking at the track map, trying to find battles for you guys, but strategies and all that means everyone's kind of spread out at the moment. So it's turning a bit more into a time trial at this point. But let's have a look at the gaps. H Racing Green is closing the gap to Gino. The gap is 9.5 seconds. But with 4 laps to go after Gino crosses the line, is there enough time to close that gap? Well, I can tell you if Gino keeps up his current pace and keeps consistent, that is a resounding no. But Ori Ambassador 7.5 seconds behind H Racing Green. Again, with about 4 laps to go. Ori lapping a touch faster, about 5/10 faster than H Racing Green. It is not enough to get him to catch and pass without H Racing Green making a mistake. This is something that HRG will be aware of. He's just got to keep it consistent. As Ori has also grown the gap back to Hasnain from 7.5 last time we checked to 9.8. And Hasnain holding Javi at about 4 seconds gap. Oh. The Javi is closing down that gap to Hasnain just a touch, as is Ori Ambassador. We are on lap 35 of 38 and the gap is now 6.7 seconds. CRG Jamie now holds the fastest lap, 1:30.639, as he seems to be closing the gap on solid just a little bit, but definitely not enough with the amount of laps remaining. But H Racing Green got that gap to Gino down at around the 7.7 second mark. As Ori is pushing hard to get the gap down against H Racing Green. The gap now 6.3 seconds. See where everyone else is. So on 4th we have Hasnain, 5th we have Javi, 6th is Solid, 7th is Jamie, 8th we have Jut and Go, Lee in 9th, Randy Kagari in the pits. Not many laps left to go. That can only mean fastest lap attempt, strap on the softs, and absolutely wring the neck out of it. He has now been lapped by the top 3, and the gaps of the top 3 are falling. OP now holding a 7-second gap, 6.8 when I had a look originally there, to H Racing Green. Ori 5.7 seconds behind H Racing Green. This is this could get close if any one of these drivers make a mistake. But yes, Ori is building a gap even further to Hasnain. Who is... his gap to Javi is falling away a bit. 3.3 seconds. It was about 4 seconds last time we rode on board. But this is the one we're all interested in. OP Gino, H Racing Green, Ori Ambassador. About 5 seconds either side of H Racing Green. He'll be looking to hold that gap to Ori, keep his championship hopes alive. As H Racing Green comes through the hairpin for the penultimate time. The gap 5.6 seconds to OP Gino, 4.6 to Ori behind. Ori does seem to be closing the gap to H Racing Green quicker than H Racing Green is closing the gap to Gino. Here we see Gino coming through the hairpin, about to start his final lap. CRG Jamie still holds the fastest lap, 1:30.639. But we know that Ryan Nakagari is going for a fastest lap attempt. So we'll see how that goes as OP Gino is on the final lap. Gap back to H Racing Green, 5.1 seconds. H Racing Green has a gap of 3.4 seconds back to Ori Ambassador. Ori will be able to see H Racing Green on the straights and through some of these curves and want to push harder, close that gap down. 4.9 ahead of H Racing Green as we see OP Gino, we see H Racing Green in the background. Ori has brought that gap down to 4.1 seconds. 8.8 seconds to Gino, definitely not going to make it past Gino if things stay as they are, but has got that gap down to 3.9 seconds as we come up the run through Advan up to the NGK chicane. 3.4 ahead of H Racing Green to Gino and 3.6 back to Ori. As we come through the hairpin and on to the start finish straight for the final time. OP Gino has won our race here in Germany, followed by H Racing Green and then Ori Ambassador, who takes a spin across the line. There we see Ryan Nakagari, he has a 3-second penalty. Means that Hasnain comes through in 4th, Javi in 5th. There is yellow flags up there for some reason. I think that might have originally been from Ori's spin. As we see Solid and CRG Jamie coming across the line. And then we've got Jut and Go through the hairpin, making his way down to the start finish line. And then Lee the Reaper. And there you have it, PSGL Constructors Challenge here at, well, Group 4's at the GPD Nurburgring circuit. Your winner, OP Gino, followed by Ori Ambassador and H Racing Green. Oh no, H Racing Green, then Ori Ambassador even. The thing on the side confused me. But here we go, confirmation. OP Gino, H Racing Green, Ori Ambassador. Hasnain, Javi, solid. Jamie with the fastest lap. Jut and Go, Lee, Ragnar Kagari. Well, that has been it from us here at PSGL. Join us next week where we are in Spain for the finale in the Group 3 cars. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the race. We'll see you for the next one. Stay safe out there.